Hello, welcome back to my series in Factorio where I'm building a mega factory. In the previous episode I realized I forgot to reconnect that one furnace, so went ahead and took care of that now. Also, I'm going to head down to my copper mine and get a few more miners going there because I realized there's just not nearly as much as the iron production. Get some new research going, and don't quite want to do red circuits yet, so we're going to work on oil processing because we're going to need to do that before we can do red circuits. Alright, going to head back up here and just kind of check things out for a minute. The other thing I wanted to do is also get some more circuit production going. It just the inserter factory is taking up way too many green circuits, so I'm going to need a few more of those. While those buildings, the assemblers are crafting in my inventory, I'm just going to go up and check out the culprit up here. And for right now, it actually seems like iron is the problem here, not producing nearly as much. It's going to be kind of a theme of this whole episode. There's not nearly enough iron production. In the meantime, we'll go ahead and get this taken care of. I was going to put it up on the other side of the output belt, but then I realized, I'll wait to do that later. I'm just going to go with the standard setup here, the star pattern of power poles. Ooh, and that research is done. Probably going to do storage tanks first, just so that I can have some sort of liquid buffer, and get the rest of these belts set up. And the inserters. It's such a long process. Can't wait until I get blueprints. And okay, there we go. Connect that up. My mouse goes a little wonky there for a second. Upgrade all these to fast inserters. And look at that. It's almost a solid output line. I think the next time I upgrade that, it will be on the other side of the output line, just to balance things out a bit. And then there's a biter attack, and all my power goes out. So it's obvious that it's in only one place. There they go, and they really messed that up. I took out my offshore pump, and a bunch of my boilers. Just absolute mess over here. I realized they actually took out a total of 3 of the boilers, so gotta get those replaced. But at least they didn't destroy too much of the coal output, so once I get all that set up, it's back up and running. I realized that these turrets over here are still using the really weak ammunition. I get those upgraded to armor piercing, and then put a third turret up there, and then I'm finally going to do something about this completely useless wall. I don't know what I was thinking when I was placing this, but it's not doing anything, so we're going to take that down. Yeah, it's a bit of a long process here. Put some trees out of the way there. Alright, and then I'm going to move this wall somewhere where it might be doing a little bit more good. Around the actual turrets instead of the steam engines. Because steam engines don't output any pollution, so biters don't really attack it that much. So it's the boilers they go after, so I want to protect those instead. And some more research going. I think I'll do gates since we're working on walls. Take down the remainder of my stone furnace because that's all done. Alright, and then the next thing I want to do is get some pump jacks going, because that's going to be the next segment. We're going to be focusing a little bit on that in this episode. And here we go. It was nice that they had an oil patch so close to the rest of the factory. And the turrets protecting the northern part, I realized that only one of them is actually shooting, so I'm going to move the other one over. So now they'll share the load. Alright, and according to my map, there's a stone deposit down in the forest to the south. Before I do that, I'm going to get these turrets over on my iron mine up to snuff, because they're still using the old ammunition as well, and they're getting attacked a lot more. There's some more oil right there. Awesome. Alright, and heading back over here, I'm going to set up a buffer for the crude oil. Get everything powered up. Get a lot of pipes going. It's going to be a lot of pipe production in this episode, which means I'm going to be needing a lot of iron ore. I hope that doesn't interfere with that last oil patch right there. Finally get some lights crafted, because everything gets so dark at night. I realize that these videos you can't really see very well. More ammunition crafted, because you can just never have enough of that, really. Eventually I will have an assembly machine. Alright, that's where I found the stone deposit. I'm going to head down there now, take care of these power poles, because they're not doing anything anymore. And some OCD there where they don't quite match up. Alright, so that was kind of a waste of time. Now, the stone deposit's around here somewhere, but I just can't seem to locate it. Ah, here it is. Get these trees cleared out of the way. Ooh, some more research going. Time for plastic, because that is going to be needed fairly soon in order to get the red circuit production going, which we will need for blue science. I'm just going to start with one miner right now, output that, and have this line of power poles just conveniently off to the side, so connect it up to there, get some defenses going, because those produce quite a bit of pollution. Alright, head back into the main part of the factory, and let's see, I actually forgot what I was doing here. Just checking things out. Oh yeah, I want to put up a radar station, because I realized I didn't have any of those. This should be a good spot for it. Now, radars attract the biter attacks almost as much as anything else. I guess they just don't like the noise. So this is going to need some defenses up here as well. Put a turret over there, get it some ammo. That should be good for now. Just kind of checking out some of these bases. I'm after the the terrible time I had trying to take out a biter base in the last episode. I'm a little more hesitant to do that now, even though I've got better ammunition and a couple more degrees of damage through research. It's still not something I'm overly eager to take on at the moment. For right now, all of my turrets are keeping them at bay, so I'm not going to worry too much. Just getting some of the spare ore out of my inventory, because that's kind of piled up in there. Speaking of biter attacks, there's one right there. Finally get some lights going so we can see so much better. Just get those going everywhere around there. Down the line of steam engines. And then over to the copper ore mining facility. Of course, by the time I get there, the sun is up and we don't need them anymore. But we'll need them again in the future. Anyway, I'm going to put a few more mining machines over here, because it's still not quite enough. Just kind of working out how I'm going to put those down there. Move some power poles out of the way. That should do it. There's still that one right there in the middle. There we go. Get everything hooked up. It's a thing of beauty right there. Getting almost a full lane on that belt, and it's the same problem that I have with the iron. Loading it all down to a single lane is really going to limit my output of plate production. Eventually I realize I am going to have to do something about that, because my furnace layout, it's great for when I have electric furnaces, but for right now, since the stone and steel furnaces require coal, I'm really limiting myself. Okay. So, I mean, eventually, as much as it pains me to do it, I'm going to have to rearrange those furnaces. Let's see, I've got 11 on each side for the iron production. Empty a few more junk items out of my inventory. Up here, I'm going to get liquid production going. I really should call it fluid production, because it's not just liquid, there's also gas, but that all qualifies as fluid. Alright, I figure I'm going to do that off to the west of my smelting facility, just so it's kind of out of the way, and yet still close and accessible to the rest of the base. Like I said, and this is all just kind of designed off the top of my head. I'm not really looking into a whole lot of economical layouts. There I go, putting some steel furnaces in place, finally. That'll really help out. Getting all that taken care of. some more damage up there, just so I can finally take the fight to the biters eventually, probably in the next episode. Clear out a few bases. In the meantime, there's another biter attack over in my copper mine. They really made a mess of everything over here. Took out one of my mining drills and an entire line of transport belts. This little turret down here, it didn't even do anything. I doubt it even fired. So I'm gonna realize that I'm gonna need another turret. Get some more steel furnaces made up as well. That should do it, because it looks like those biters are coming from the base off to the northwest. So yeah, I'll eventually have to go take care of that. In the meantime, let's get the rest of this uh, set up. I'm gonna need some more iron plates. Eventually, I will need to do something about that because it's becoming a bit of a pain. All right, so we're just spacing everything out here. This should be a good buffer output for all three of the fluids. But I also want it to be expandable for the future. Because, yeah, especially for a mega factory, you're going to need a lot of everything. So everything needs to have expandability in mind when you make it. Just getting all the output pipes there for the oil processing. And yeah, I believe that's the heavy oil output. Wanting everything to kind of line up with the outputs on the refinery. Once again, need more iron. Such a pain. And as for the pipes as well, we're probably going to need to set up some assemblers for those as well. But they'll probably take care of that in the next episode, as well as armor-piercing ammunition, and hopefully red circuits and red belts as well. Because I realize I can now make those, and it's going to require some updates to the transport belts division of my factory, using a long-range power pole there. Because I'm thinking that's good enough. Well, I need to connect the oil, of course. I got this little set of storage tanks down here. I'm just going to try to make it go as far out of the way of the rest of the base as possible. Heading over here, that should take care of it. Getting everything lined up, and it just so happens that it goes right under that lake, which is perfect. And also not interfering with my iron belt. Just trying to work out the spacing here. And this also has the idea of expandability for the future. Of course, right now I can't remember if advanced oil processing has the water input on the left or right, as we're looking at it there, but eventually I'll be able to get that taken care of. In the meantime, another biter base down here at my boiler area. And once again, these turrets are just woefully inadequate for the area. And this has also had the effect of completely interrupting the coal mining. I'm gonna go ahead and put these turrets closer so that while the biters are attacking those boilers, the guns will actually be in range. Alright, that should get it all taken care of. When I figure out where they're actually coming from, because it looks like they're coming from the north, which is kind of strange, because that means they're going across the furnace area. For the second time here, rebuilding this wall to actually be effective, hopefully. And once again, my mouse goes wonky. And again, I get some gates going there so I can actually pass through there. And in the meantime, my coal output is suffering from the power drain. So I'm going to go up here to my junk box, get all the coal out that I can. I'm going to head down here to the boiler and set up a buffer box so that it will pump all that out. Just trying to get the power line connected. There it goes. It's a little slow because the power is so low at the moment, but as those boilers continue to get filled up with coal, watch that that power line go from red to yellow and finally to green. Alright, so that should do it for now. I'm really going to need to do something about this area up here. I realized that the smelters are not using a whole lot of coal, so I'm going to split that off and head that down into the power production. In the meantime, my fluids are being produced in a nice amount. There's a little more research. I want to get those turret damage, but then I think, what else can I do? I am going to eventually have to do engines to get the rail works going, and that's always a fun thing to set up in a factory, especially in a mega factory. You're going to need a lot of rail lines, so that's going to be the next research going. A lot of damage down here in my iron factory, and this time the biter's coming from the south. There's alien bases all over this place. I'm going to really have to do something about that in the future. But in the meantime, I'm going to focus on getting some plastic. Now I can finally research the train lines. Awesome. And let's see here. First, I'm going to head down here and check out my my stone production, get that output into a steel chest, and then set up an actual furnace to turn that into stone bricks. So I'm going to need a lot of those. Get some trees cleared out of the way. The stone bricks help me with a whole lot of things. Walls, I can make another oil refinery. I just need a little bit more there. And then, of course, some more iron plates. Gonna head back up there and get some more of those. And that does it. I can make another oil refinery. And I'm gonna need a bunch more pipes. Just waiting for that to craft in my inventory. There we go. Gotta move that down a little ways. There's some more train research. Woo! We're really moving along on that. I realized I could actually make research automobilism, but I want to get the train system set up first. That's like always the most fun for me, because I realize I don't really use the automobile all that much. And there we go. There's the second oil processor going. Got plenty of oil filling into those. All my buffer tanks filling up nicely. Alright, and then I do eventually want to have a chemical plant working for each kind of those fluids. Just so that no one of them backs up and causes the entire oil refinery to shut down. Just working out all of the requirements for plastic. I'm going to need some coal, but there's a coal line feeding my steel plant. So I can probably just feed it up from there. I want to give myself plenty of room for extra buffer tanks for when I eventually need them. I also get some sulfur research going, because I'll eventually need that going to make batteries for the blue science. As well as electric, not furnaces, electric engines. Of course, that's a little ways down the line, but inevitably so, because the MegaFactory really benefits from the flying robots. So, need to have those in the future. Though I'm thinking I'm just going to have some solid fuel production for the light oil, and the heavy oil will eventually be made into lubricant. So, just going to get those chemical plants set down now. And then just work on the output for the plastic. Just trying to realize I didn't have any belts. Looking at some requirements for the red belts. I'll eventually get, I'll probably in the next episode. And some input for the coal line that I'll have to build up here. Just get everything as compact as possible there. I'm going to branch that right off of there and go straight up there. Because that's one of the main reasons I have so much room between those, is so you can run belts around. And get all the power set up. That should do it. Now it just needs the coal. Get that going. That ought to be beautiful. And realizing that for the red belts, I'm going to have to probably redesign this area again. Get everything upgraded to a fast inserter. But I'm running out of time for this episode. Next episode will be the red belt and all that. Thank you for watching, and never stop building.